Okay, from that 8.5 by 6 inch panel, I want to show you how to measure it and what I want you to do with it, but I'm going to do it on this plain piece of paper just so you can see. At the top, on the short edge, I want you to score it at 3/4 of an inch, so we'll do that on the scoreboard. Get the scoring tool, 3/4 of an inch. That gives us our tab for sticking down. Then I want you to just make a pencil mark 4.5 down each side, and then measure in just 1/2 an inch on each side and down on that mark you made, another 1/2 an inch. That's going to give you a little panel. And cut that at an angle there. So that's what you'll be left with, and then you can cut that out either with the scissors or cut it with your craft knife. So that's going to take that panel out of there. You see why when you cover the front. And that's what you'll be left with. So we'll do that with our coloured paper. When you've cut your paper to its right size, what we're going to do is cover that front panel. We can put some adhesive across the inside bottom there. Excuse my messy card, it's ex-display things from work, so I recycle them. So you need to get that tab, pop it into the crease that you've made there, and that gives you that coming up there. Put that in there like that, and then we can put some ATG on the top of this panel. Sorry, out of camera now. So along that top edge, if you want to go up the sides as well, you can, and even along the bottom if you really want to. Let's put loads on. So we've covered that inside, and where we've got our tab cut out, now we can, if you want to pop it down that way, we'll put some adhesive on that panel there. So you'll have to excuse the really tatty card that I'm using, but it does the job. And better to recycle than throw it away at the end of the day. Then I'm going to pop a piece across there as well, although the ATG doesn't stick to that rough surface very well. So you've covered that piece, turn it over where you've got your tabs there, pop some ATG. My ATG isn't behaving itself very well. Put a thinner one on, although I think that may have, yeah, that's run out, that one, so that's no good. Sounds a bit too thick. Let me put a bit of glue on the bottom of there. And then you can, I'm just going to pop that over there, as so. You won't see this because your box is going to be inside it anyway, but that's covering. You could try and cover it all in one go, but I found when I did it that way that where all the creases are, especially if you use a little bit thinner paper, it just tears, the paper tears, so I'd rather do it in more sections and it be stronger. If you've got some little bits up there, just get your scissors and trim those off a little bit. just a little spiky bit up there. Right, and that's your front panel covered. Our next section is the second panel. So you need your 10 by 6 panel for this one. You'll want to again score it at 3/4 of an inch on the short side. So trusty old Martha Stewart scoreboard. I really wouldn't be without this scoreboard. This is so useful. Use it such a lot. That's giving you 3/4 of an inch, and that is going to sit in here. So what we want to do is put some adhesive again on that panel, just inside that score line. Then we want to put some adhesive on this big panel. So we'll pop that down on there now. So our tab runs along there. If you centre, oh look, doesn't it always happen? Make sure you lift it up so that it doesn't stick before you want it to. Fold that tab backwards, that helps to be able to centre it on the crease here, and then pop that on there. Then lay that down on your adhesive, pop it over the other side. That's not very straight, is it? My goodness, I look as if I've been on the sherry there. Really, it's not very straight, but I'm sure it'll do the job. Even so, I could try and take it off, but I'm not going to because it'll rip. No my luck. So what we want to do as you do when you cover a chipboard to cover, and just take that corner off. Leave about 1/8 of an inch against the corner. Ideally you would want to centre that a bit better than I have. But I'd like to say I'd been on the sherry just so I had an excuse for making it so cockeyed, but I haven't, so there you are. So want some adhesive down the edges and on the top where I put some. That's great. Now we can fold over. Easiest way to do it is just push it onto the desk. That makes a nice clean fold. And we can go this way. You could actually just trim those two corners there off an angle because you're going to cover that anyway, so that will make that sit in there a little bit better too. And let's do the same again. You can go the same way, pop that on there to ease that over. That's there, and push it over. You could push it all the way over. See, ideally you'd want more overhang than that. Okay, our next panel that we're going to do is the bottom. We just need to put some adhesive in that centre panel. So just use my ATG gun and pop that, centre that across that middle. There. And stuck. There you are, and then just fold that over to the back. So the back will be like that. And that's that piece done. Okay, we're just going to do the back panel now. Now, I actually told you the wrong measurement when I was telling you on the second sheet of 12 by 12 paper, when I was telling you which panels to cut out. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong measurement. I said 10 by 6 and it should have been 10 3/4 by 5 inches. So I'm sorry about that. This is 10 3/4 by 5 inches, and this is going to cover your back. You see, I told you I've been on the sherry. It was true, really. I didn't want to admit it. That's what it was. Right, Okay, so we put some adhesive on the back and down at the bottom here. That's already got some adhesive on that one. Let's just put a little bit more on. That's not sticking again, as I said, it doesn't stick when it's rough. And what we need to do now is just position that on the top, line that up, that ATG sticky bits, and line that up with the side. Pop that down. And then you can just bend that. If you do happen to have a little bit over, you can just trim that off. Bend your front panel back and just take your knife along the bottom. And that, sorry, I'm doing it out of camera. There you go, and that gives you your back panel. So that's your whole front done there. So we want the join at the front so you don't notice that. If you've been using ordinary mount board, which you can buy from any art shop, the mount board they use to mount the pictures with, it's not very expensive, £2 something a sheet I think it is, a big sheet. And that's going to sit in there. And then you have plain colours anyway, so you're going to have plain both sides, so you could manage without covering that at all if you wanted to. All depends on what you're using. So what we want to do now, we're going to pop some adhesive on this side. You will want a nice lot of glue. We don't want it to come off. It's up to you which you use, whether you use wet glue. I do think sometimes the ATG and the double-sided tape can dry out. All depends where it's kept. Centre that back piece and pop that up, the back up. That's stuck on there. Bring your front panels together. They should meet. So I did take it off again and I've put wet glue on it instead because I think it will stick better. And now I've got 2 elastic bands and I've put those around there. When you gluing, push it down so that at the top so that it comes down to the bottom edge there, and then pop your elastic bands on. Once it's dried a little bit, when you're holding it and it's staying together, then if you just leave those bands on there, that will, you can put it to one side and let it dry off. So next stage is to decorate it and then make a nice little mini album to go inside.